Board games, board games
Board
is what
games.
we're talking about.
Board
Board
games.
games, board games. I'm not gonna shout.
Board
We
games.
are starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And over here to this side of me is the person known as Phoebe. Phoebe's surname, it is wild. I mean that literally, as in Phoebe's surname, Phoebe's full name. Wait, do you have a middle name? I never actually asked you.
I do. It's Elizabeth.
Phoebe's full name is Phoebe Elizabeth Wild. Today we're going to blether and chatter about what you do after a Kickstarter as you try to start to fulfill all those orders and not be a shill as you continue to promote your stuff, but you don't want to become too much one note. But you're going to meet your promises and you might do some things like this. Board games and Kickstarter obligations is what we're talking about. Board games and Kickstarter obligations. We're not going to shout, hey!
Hey, board games.
And Kickstarters!
And Kickstarters.
And hello, I am Bez. It is bedtime in New Zealand. And I mean, what time is it over there? Is it 9 p.m.?
It's 9 p.m. Yeah, we've had a couple of. It used to be 7 p.m. when we chatted, and now it's 9 because we've both had a daylight saving shift.
Because now it's your summer.
Yeah.
Happy summertime.
Yay. So, well, it's technically not summer till December, but it's nice, and it was a nice day today. It's good.
I mean, wait, springtime. I guess it's springtime for you.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, this is busy bedtime board game bladder. I mean, 9 p.m. is like a reasonable time to start about thinking about going to bed. Hopefully, this show won't be too invigorating and energizing. Hopefully, you'll be able to have a decent, restful sleep. We won't, startle you. We promise not to shout, as we said at the start. And yeah, we're going to be talking about After the Kickstarter with Phoebe Wild.
That's me.
And can you give us a 1-minute intro of let's start off with what are we talking about?
Well, I guess just everything that happened like once you funded and what that means and how you fulfill and dealing with all the problems that happen. And there's actually a lot of work. Like you would think that, oh, you've prepared the Kickstarter, it's months and months or years of doing that. Oh, you've done the Kickstarter, that's like a month of no sleep. Oh, you're done. No, you've got another few months of work. And it's going to be really stressful because now you're dealing with like taxes and VAT and Brexit and fulfillment and all kinds of things that, especially if it's your first time, you don't know how to predict it necessarily. You don't really know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I kind of do, but I'm learning it as I go, definitely. So it's a journey. It's a stressful journey.
Yeah, and obviously Phoebe ran a very successful Kickstarter for Ludo Cherry for these amazing clothes. I don't know if you have any samples next to us, next to you, sorry.
Do. Oh, let me. I've got something here.
That out, and whilst Phoebe's finding them, I'm going to say hello to Xate. It is lovely to see you as always. Lots of love. Oh my gosh, that looks gorgeous. Is that a skirt?
This is one of the skirts.
No, I was going to say that would look really good as pajama bottoms.
That's true. It would
be like kind of maybe a bit pricey. I don't know, but I quite like fancy pajama bottoms sometimes, or like kinds of those really baggy trousers, like those kind of
like culottes or yeah.
But hello, Alan in chat. It's lovely to see you, and hello, Rob Harper. Lovely to see you.
Hi,
and
everyone.
Jess, with whom I was chatting like about half an hour ago. And yeah, I apparently want everything as pajama bottoms.
I mean,
And
2020 is the year of pajamas, so it's fine.
okay, and hello, I believe that this is Simon, and Jay Foolsguard. Lovely to see you all.
Yay.
It is lovely to see you. And do I show off my pajama bottoms even though they're not red?
Do it.
I've already admitted that. So,
Oh, they're great.
see that? I'm kind of trying to show that closer to the
Are
camera.
they strawberries?
Yes, they are.
Yay.
So it's got like a red theme on it.
Yep.
I bought it on the internet. Honestly, I was hoping it would be a little bit more red because you're never totally sure with the colours. But I don't think I'll be doing that, literally. Maybe not, but thank you. Anyway, so yeah, let's start off, as always, talking about brilliant things. Brilliant things. What's a little thing which is brilliant?
Should I say my brilliant thing?
It is, of course, television.
Yay.
I mean, I was expecting you to say it, but that's okay.
I know. I was enjoying the eyebrow action. I can't do that. My eyebrows aren't big enough.
You can't raise your eyebrows.
Well, I can, but they're not dramatic enough. They're very like blonde and disappear into the side of my face.
Shape my eyebrows. Like normally, I get myself properly like done over twice a year. True story. And once kind of in time for UK Games Expo, once in time for Essen, and yeah, 2020, I even got myself, hair done and like everything for Cannes because I was like, yeah, it's kind of an excuse. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, so hello, Jones Family Game Night, and yes, what we're talking about is television because television is all about self-care. Phoebe, you mentioned this. Oh, sorry, I should have let you give your own reasons for television. Television is sometimes about you don't have the mind to kind of actually interact with something. You don't want to be doing work. You just want to kind of soak up something. And, television can be seen as not a great thing. And for sure, anything in too much, it's not great. But sometimes, just watching something relatively passively, I think is pretty brilliant. And you had one show in particular in mind.
I did. I nominated The Great British Bake Off, which is just lovely and beautiful to watch, and everyone makes creative things, and it's just so calming. I love it. And if anyone hasn't seen the 2018 season with Kim Joy, she loves board games. So and she makes cute little animal everything's like cute and pretty little animals that she bakes. So you should definitely watch it.
Oh yes, let me actually find. So if you don't know, Kim Joy apparently has a Christmas with Kim Joy book where you can learn to make things like this. And I don't know if that would be in the book or not, but yeah, Kim Joy continues supporting things going on in the British Bake Off. And I think it's kind of natural that if you're someone who was going to be on the show, you would probably be a fan of it already because you're probably a fan of baking. I mean, to be a good enough baker to be on the show, and so you probably are going to watch it. But yeah, true claim to fame. My claim to fame is that Kim Joy knows who I am, and yes.
And follows you on Twitter. Doesn't just know who you are, follows you.
And on Instagram.
Yep.
And Sate says, I do rather like baking. Mel is all right, but Jess would rather choose Sue. Oh. So apparently, we were actually chatting about this just before the show that potentially I'll need to think about how this interacts with the British 4 weeks of isolation. It might have to happen after Christmas. I'm not sure, but we'll have to chat about that. But I definitely want to visit you, Xate, before, departing, and it would be lovely to see you for a few weeks, genuinely. But yeah, why is television so brilliant? Why do you love this show?
It's just, I don't know, it's so wonderful to watch. Like everyone on it is just really nice, and because there's no prizes on Bake Off, it's just people are there because they love doing it. And like, yeah, they want to get to the end and they want to kind of, I guess, be the best, but it doesn't have that American reality show feeling of like cutthroat, we must beat everyone else. It's just like everyone's just making things and supporting each other, and like when contestants are upset, like they help each other, or like if one's running out of time and the other person's finished, they're like, what can I do so you get the thing done in time? And it's just like that everyone just makes cool stuff. And I like falling asleep to it actually sometimes because it's just very relaxing, and the structure is predictable, like the 3 rounds, and
Mm.
it's just very nice.
Yeah, for sure. And something that has that sense of completion, that you've got
Hmm.
this nice arc that you always know how it's going to go. I know one of my siblings used to watch Dragon's Den, and they were like, oh, yeah, they just knew that this deal wasn't going to go through, but this deal was because the show's producers always picked particular times to have a deal that goes through
Mm,
and particular times to have a deal that doesn't, because they want a similar kind of arc.
yeah.
But it, it look, baking itself isn't a brilliant thing. It's watching the television show. I mean, for Phoebe, this might be the British Bake Off, but whatever your show of choice is, like, we're not saying go off and watch television, 12 hours a day or anything like that. Because, if you are, then, you might want to kind of see, why are you doing this? Is this a problem? Like if you do anything like that much, you need to kind of just check in with yourself. Why are you doing this? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, baking is definitely a brilliant thing, says Rob. I mean, maybe we should have just had baking as a brilliant thing,
Maybe.
although
We baked pumpkin pie yesterday for Halloween, which is
hmm.
very tasty.
And so yeah, in the comments, let us know, do you like television? Do you watch a lot of television? What's your favorite television show? And if you manage to tell us what's your favorite TV, and if you like TV, tell us which one do you prefer more, baking or television? Like if you had to choose the two, which I think, whilst people are telling that in chat, I'm going to ask Phoebe to start off our questionably quick questions. I'm
Whoa!
very aggressive today. I'm punching you. Like, that's the power of the questionably quick questions coming at you like
All right,
lightning.
I'm ready for them. I'm ready.
So you know the first one already. Which one would you choose, baking or television?
Oh, television, because I can watch baking still,
Hmm.
but I can't bake a television.
Hmm. So you don't feel like there's joy in baking and then eating what you've baked and
Oh, there is, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick TV, only because I have type 1 diabetes and I shouldn't eat that much sugar.
Hmm.
Yep.
Do you bake with like, I don't know, like how does honey and agave syrup and things like that interact with diabetes?
It's all, so any kinds of sugar or carbs, they all count. So like anything that's sweet, anything that tastes good affects me
Hmm.
basically. So like flour, rice, like sugar, honey, it's all the same in terms of like sugar content. Um, yeah, the only things I can kind of use that don't have sugar are artificial sweeteners, but they taste gross. So you may as well just have a little bit of the real thing.
So in the chat, PCOS, I don't know PCOS, so I
I
can't gorge.
I think it is polycystic ovary syndrome. I think.
Ah, so can't gorge on sugar too often. That makes sense. And talking about television, um, Simon says they're working through X-Files again. They forgot how many episodes there are. Watched 110 of them. So we'll have a television-themed questionably quick question. So have you watched the X-Files, Phoebe?
I haven't.
Wow.
Yeah. Never.
I'm going to admit also that I hadn't watched them until I picked up some random VHS tapes from somewhere. I picked them up purely to get the actual physical tape, because sometimes I turned that tape into stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I just want, and I thought I was going to watch through it, see what's on these tapes before. I just found these tapes lying on the street. Someone was getting rid of them. It's like, oh, score! I'll take all these tapes. And there was a bunch of X-Files stuff. But yeah, they're good show. I mean, I can definitely see the attraction, I should say. Just like Gossip Girl, Doc Martin, Emily in Paris, and TBBT. Do you know TBBT?
I don't.
Which of these shows have you watched?
I've watched Gossip Girl and Emily in Paris. I've watched Gossip Girl more than once. It's silly, but it's it's good. I like it.
I watched Emily in Paris. I couldn't understand all the French, I'm going to admit that. My French was not good enough that if I hadn't had the subtitles, I would have been able to understand it all. But, it's not there for learning French. It's clearly not. It's like basically a rom-com. And anyway, but I've watched a couple of episodes of Doc Martin, none of Gossip Girl, and I do not know what TBBT is.
Oh, The Big Bang Theory, says Zayt in
The
chat.
Big Bang Theory.
Is that still going? I think it's still going. I haven't watched it for years, though. I watched like the first, I want to say 3 or 4 seasons.
It is one of these things that was like, yeah,
it ended last year. There we go.
Okay. And Rob Harper recently started watching Detectorists on television. Have you seen this one?
I haven't. There's so much TV to watch.
I mean, I'm not saying watch all those things. I'm imagining Detectorists. This is like a real life thing where, where like Mythbusters, I'm imagining something like that, where they go and then they actually try and do some real life detective work, where they say, okay, everyone thinks that, I'm struggling to work out what they could do that was different to Mythbusters. Maybe they dress up like Sherlock Holmes. Maybe that's their angle. Maybe it's exactly like Mythbusters, but that's how I'm imagining it. Apparently it's brilliant, but yeah, I'm imagining it's exactly like Mythbusters, but with fancy dress. That's what I'm imagining. And yeah, spent so much of my life watching TV. I had a black and white TV in my bedroom when I was young, and would stand for hours holding the aerial trying to get a good picture. So speaking of which, did you ever own your own television in a bedroom?
I don't think so. No. I mean, like now I guess we have Netflix on your computer, so like everyone has a TV in the bedroom, I guess. But no, I've never had one, like an actual TV.
I had a big TV in my bedroom, but it wasn't hooked up to the TV. It was only, I still have it there, and I hope that as long as I have like the space in my parents' room, because I'm very privileged that I have a wee bit of space to put stuff in. It's a cathode ray tube, right? And I know that cathode ray tubes are old, and now it's all about these digital displays, but there's something lovely about that bleed. Like if you look at some of the old video games, because of the way that the fuzziness of the lines interacts with stuff, like especially with the spectrum, it looks so much better on a CRT TV than it does on a modern screen.
Huh.
True story. There was someone who was actually giving a grant to people to investigate how to simulate a cathode ray tube on a modern device. Because they could see the issue of this kind of being a problem.
Hmm.
Okay, we've got questionably quick question. What is your favorite tea?
Ooh, probably orange pico or Assam are my two favorite. Both black teas, but I love them both.
Hmm.
Mm.
And Xates reminded me of a questionable question not too long ago that they want to know, for anyone else watching, how do we know each other, Phoebe?
How do we know it? Internet?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think I reached out to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've followed each other on Twitter for a while and we've kind of interacted there. And I think you reached out to me, or I saw you put out a call for panelists, or not panelists, stream interviewers, and I was like, "Hi, I exist."
Yeah.
But I think we just met over Twitter.
I mean, it's not just about existing. Oh, that reminds me, if Rob is up for it, I would love to have Rob on, because let's chat about design sometime, Rob. But yeah, it's about knowing that the person is comfortable with it, that they've got time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And Simon asks, what do I turn tape into? Clothes. True story.
Oh,
Basically, it wasn't anything fancy, and a lot of it has not been done well, and a lot of the clothes that I turned tape into, they could only be worn once.
sure.
It wasn't very environmentally friendly, but this was with stuff that was pretty much going to landfill anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. And have you watched Twin Peaks?
I haven't. People keep telling me I need to watch it. Apparently, it's amazing. I have not seen it. I,
Hmm.
I, I don't really know much about it except I think it's like a murder no, or like some kind of murdery thing. I don't know, murdery thing.
Well, it's there. It's very surreal, and there's this one space where everything sounds weird because apparently the way they did it is they recorded it all backwards and had to speak backwards so that they flipped it and the speech was the normal way around. So instead of saying hello, they would say ole. Um, and so, can you say
Why?
your name backwards, Phoebe?
Phoebe e beef?
Yes.
Yeah, that's difficult.
So, Ebif ole would be hello, Phoebe.
Why did they do that? Was it to make it sound weird, or because they
Exactly.
could? Okay,
To make it
sure.
sound weird. So it's kind of like you're in this alternative, like dreamlike space where things are just sounding weird.
That's
Um,
strange.
and not really a fan of TV unless we count in streaming services. Speaking of which, as part of the questionably quick questions, do you watch a lot of stuff streaming
I
on
do.
Twitch?
Well, actual streaming? Not really. I watch channels during like conventions and like events. Like I watched Shut Up and Sit Down's channel during All Sharks, and I'll watch BGG and things like that. But I don't watch a lot of Twitch otherwise. I watch
Hmm.
streaming on like Netflix and Stan, but that's a different streaming.
Hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I was kind of meaning like Twitch and YouTube style stuff.
Yeah, not really. It's which makes it hard, right? Because I want to stream more and like engage our community and stuff, but it's hard when you don't watch streams to know what people want to watch and what they want to hear and how to engage with people. It's like trying to post on Facebook when you've never used Facebook. Um, so I think I probably should watch more channels that I like
Possibly.
and that I respect. I don't know.
I mean, you can dip in and dip out, and
Yeah.
I don't tend to watch much stuff. I have followed all the things that are on Ross's list, because Ross from More Games Please made a list of a whole bunch of board game streaming people,
Mm.
and yeah, moved me off the community bit, which I was slightly sad about.
Oh.
Um, because I said, "Oh, why am I in the community bits rather than the publisher bits?" And or because at the time I thought it was just like a random list, and then and I didn't quite understand how the lists works. I thought the publisher was like a subset of the
Mm.
alphabetized list was like the full list, and Ross was like, "Oh no, that's meant to be the list for community channels. This is meant to be the list for publisher focused stuff." It's like, okay, that sounds great, and I'm honored to be the only publisher, as far as I can see, who's on it. And then
Mm.
I wrote that, and then I think maybe Ross pondered and said, "Yeah, you know what? Bez is the only publisher that's on the community bit. Bez shouldn't be on there. How does Bez get off on being different? Sorry." And yes, I'm on the publisher list, which I was slightly sad because I might not even be a self-publisher, because I'm you know not sure what's going. It's a weird situation because like I am, yeah, one of, I think I'm probably the most prolific publisher, I'm going to say, who's like not even trying to make any money anymore, if you know what I
Mm.
mean. Like, and I am genuinely doing it purely because A, I want to get my stuff out there and just as the act of creation,
Yep.
and B, because I believe that there are people who genuinely want to have some of this stuff, and like it could do some good in schools and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so I do kind of stand alone. Hello, Andrew January. It is lovely to see you.
Hi.
Have you watched Xena?
No.
Old school Xena Warrior Princess. It's like
Mm.
all about those circular lethal discs. I think you throw like, it's kind of like shurikens, but I think they come back. I think Xena
Okay.
was Australian, what weren't they? Someone corrects me if I'm wrong, but I think that. Oh wow! Apparently, Simon's sister won a TV on the kids' game show Mousetrap. She was the
Wow.
only one of us 7 kids with her own TV. I was jealous.
That's awesome.
Have you ever been on TV?
Uh yes. I do have a funny story about this actually. So I was in Spain doing like a 4 week language exchange through my university. So I'd get credits, language credits, and I was basically just going to a language school for like 5 hours a day and then just hanging out and exploring. We were in the south in Sevilla, so we were exploring Sevilla and going on weekend trips and stuff. Anyway, I was walking around like the shopping district and there was just a bunch of beds in the middle of the road with people sitting on the beds with like those like old nightcaps and old pajamas. And I was like, what is going on? Because all I could see is like beds kind of scattered across. And we look around and they're trying to get people to like carry the beds with them on them and they have to carry them like down the street. And there's cameras like everywhere on each of the beds. And so I like help out one of them and I'm like carrying them down. I'm like, I don't know what is happening, but I'll go along with it. But I get them to the end of the street and I see a big yellow sign, and it's for the Amazing Race, but it's the Amazing Race like Israel, I think. Like not the American Amazing Race. Another I think it was Israel. Yeah, so I'm like 5 seconds in an episode of The Amazing Race carrying a bed down a Spanish street.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So,
It was pretty funny.
this is kind of like an extras moment, pretty
Yeah,
much.
exactly. I've never been like actually on TV, but that definitely counts.
No, I mean, you had your body on TV, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Apparently, I was completely wrong. Xena was made in New Zealand.
Oh,
So
okay.
there we go. Um, um, I, I'm not sure. Okay, so apparently Simon Peter has also been in the documentary about Wales's first. I hope that was too good not to allow Bez. I hope it was okay. Phoebe, is this over the line or am I going to show this?
It's up to you. It's your channel. I'm not offended.
Um,
But it's
okay, so it's PG, so no more sex talk after this. So Simon was in a documentary about Wales's first Christian sex shop, holding a dildo and tasting lube. I forgot about it until it was broadcast and my work colleagues saw it. And it
Awkward.
was on TV. And Alan was on the 6 o'clock news in New Zealand back in the 1990s. Someone taped it for me on VHS, but I accidentally recorded over it with an
Oh
episode of
no.
Countdown. Aww. Yeah, so that's all the sex talk that we're having for today. But you can feel free to chat amongst yourselves in Twitch as long as it doesn't get any more explicit. But yeah. So let's move back to, we were talking about Twitch and how you haven't seen much. Alan suggests, are there ways to make Twitch and or YouTube more like TV, curated somewhat? We need to have certain types of content at certain times, such as the news at 6 o'clock. Thought experiment. Tell us what you think, Phoebe.
I mean, I think the most obvious answer to that is that's what kind of YouTube was before streaming, I guess, and what people use YouTube, like published YouTube videos for, is like we'll record a thing, we'll edit it, we'll put it all together nicely, and it's kind of a concise, well-constructed thing. Whereas streaming is more spontaneous and rambly, and the people who watch streams are not necessarily the people, or like you watch them at different times, right? They cater to different things. And I mean, you can do that on Twitch in the same way as you could do it on YouTube, because you can publish or stream like a pre-recorded video. So you could like film a video and edit it and put it all together and then publish it. And like Mark does that sometimes for Tabletopia when he's like a stream needs to happen at 4 a.m. his time, and he doesn't want to, be streaming from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's already kind of platforms like YouTube that let you do that, and then the streaming kind of accommodates a different kind of content. So making it fit that same type is probably not the way to go. I don't know. But who knows? Maybe there are people who watch Twitch who want that.
Just to say hello to Alex, and we're just finishing up the questionably quick questions with a thoughts experiment from Alan. And I would almost say that this is kind of already happening with Twitch schedules. Like, as of this week, if you tune in at 10 a.m. on a Sunday, you will know that I'll be reviewing stuff. It's just going to be like every week from next Sunday, I will be reviewing stuff every Sunday. And, for several months now, if you tune in at 10 a.m., then I will be generally talking to someone, sometimes talking with myself, but it'll be about board games in some sort of vague manner, and it follows the format. So yes, originally it started off me thinking, okay, this has got to be a 1-hour show. And then I think because when I start talking to other people, I just like talking to other people for longer. And I think that's part of it, where, once I'm actually talking to the person, it's really fun. And then I keep wanting to go. But then because of Xates, it's like, okay, 2 hours, hard deadline, never a minute extra. And so like at 10:02, if we're not finished, I am going to start the recap. No excuses. And I think yesterday we might have gone 1 minute over, but yeah, it was. The point is that yeah, we already kind of have that, and I know that people do publish their schedules. I know that in Australia, Zanny, shouts out to Zanny, I think it's 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Summertime. Is that AEST? Is that a thing?
I think that's what we're in we're in ADT, I think, right now, which is Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Yes, we are in AEDT.
But oh man, Alex is saying boo to the limits. Well, you're not here half the time. Come on, Alex. I mean, Xate's actually here, so Xates gets to tell me what's working or not. I think. And say it just because it's you. If you have like someone that you're like, yeah, Bez, you should have more of this person on. Let me know, Xate. You can tell me privately so you don't offend everyone else. But let me know those people, and I'll make a special effort to have those people on again. Because honestly, like, just a quick shout out. I'm just going to take off the questionably quick questions because this is more of a bladder about Twitch. But it's like I am so honored to have like people like Shem on, Shem Phillips, and afterwards like thank you so much for that. And they were like, oh, no worries, and I really enjoyed it. It's like quite a nice informal discussion and quite a friendly chat. And but you come here, you know what you're getting. Zani, that's what's about to talk about. I think it's 5 a.m. UK time, and that's way too early for me. But if that suits you, then you know that there's going to be some music and stuff that's being played, and you know what they're going to do. And I do enjoy like the musicians, and a lot of them play at specific times. A lot of the board gaming people have specific times. Maybe all it needs for you, Alan, is some almost one person to say, okay, this is like the best content, and I'm going to have like this curated content. But I guess part of Twitch in a way is that you can, if you follow enough people, whenever we raid people, if you look, are you able to find out who someone is following on Twitch? Because
I
I
think
couldn't
you can
work out.
see followers, and same way you can like look on Twitter. I think so.
I mean, I can see who's following me, but can I look at you and see who you are following? Could
I
someone
think
look at?
so. Let me have a look.
Because I was going to say, if you look at me, I am following way more people than I am actually watching. And I don't watch many board game streams at all. I've watched a bit of Matthew Dunstan, who was lovely. I watched, the Surprise Star games. I watched their full thing. I've watched, a good chunk of the Loser-Paloozas. I can't think of anyone else that I really want to give a shout out to be honest. Because How to Plays, I know I dropped in on you two, doing your kind of rant or your thing through Essen, and obviously there's special stuff going on during Essen. But it felt like I don't actually enjoy watching people play games. I don't enjoy playing games that are more than like half an hour with other people on stream. Like if I'm just watching, if I were part of it, like if I were in the same house as the losers, yeah, 100%. I would love to be there in their house playing that game. I would love to do that, but playing that game, it's just not for me personally. But if that's what you're into, then there is so much content like that. So if you want, and check out the people that I'm following, and then go and follow all those people, it will be a whole lot of board gamey stuff and a whole lot of musicy stuff.
It doesn't look like I can see who you're following, which is, I thought you could, but I can see the people you've suggested, which you obviously select in your profile, but it doesn't look like I can see who you're following, which is interesting. Yeah, weird.
People are talking about, selling stuff like a Tupperware party, but maybe it might be sex toys, which for the record are illegal in Thailand.
Wow. That's weird.
It's because they see sex toys as corrupting everyone. Anyway, we have already bladdered so much. I feel like, oh my gosh. I'm going to try and be a little bit more focused, chat. Feel free to chat. I will dip in, but I'm going to be a little bit more on point. And if you want to chat amongst yourselves, I just won't flash most of it up. So apologies for that. But let's talk about, for a couple of minutes, what's a typical day for you like right now? What are you doing in the midst of fulfilling this Kickstarter?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of emails and spreadsheets. Is like the summary is a lot of emails and spreadsheets. So like especially after we funded, while we were waiting for manufacturing to finish, it was a lot of basically hunting for different fulfillment options. Especially because we thought we had a fulfillment place set up, and then because of kind of a miscommunication or a misunderstanding with our manufacturer, we weren't actually able to use that fulfillment center. So it was a kind of a last minute scramble to find another alternative. So we had kind of, I was looking up all these different companies and sending them emails and getting quotes and kind of doing so many spreadsheets of like, okay, well, these are their rates for every country and estimating our losses or our profits based on what we wanted to charge people, and then also weighing up if it had tracking or if it had like how long the parcels would take and how responsive the people were. Did they have good reviews and things like that? So like there was one place we found that was incredibly cheap. We couldn't find any kind of reviews on them or like much information on them other than they were an American startup based in Hong Kong, and their shipping rates were like absurdly cheap. And we're like, great, what's the catch? And they were like, it's probably fine, but they didn't have a contract we could sign that would like guarantee us, but basically the terms of the agreement, either protecting them or us. And we're like, you know what, do we really want to put all of our stock in the hands of a company that we don't have a contract with and an agreement with? So in the end, we didn't go with them because it was like, it would probably be fine. They were probably legit, but without a contract in place, there's no protection if they weren't. So we had to go with someone else. So yeah, it's a lot of kind of weighing up all the pros and cons of the various companies, and then now that we have a fulfillment center sorted out, just kind of communicating with them and making sure we know what's happening and sorting through issues. And yeah, it's just a lot of making sure all the communications going and everything's moving. Yeah.
And let's, for literally 1 minute, talk about any recent highlights that we've had. I'm going to give a big shout out to one of my housemates. You know who you are if you're watching this, and who was lovely last night and cleaned everything in the kitchen. And then we watched a film together, Halloween.
Yay.
It was the 2018 edition. I don't rate it very highly. I didn't enjoy it much, but it was definitely scary at some points. There was some great cinematography, but it feels like there were enough points where it was like, okay, this doesn't seem realistic at all, but it wasn't so fantastical that it was just like, oh wow, this looks so amazing. I can get behind these flights of fancy and whimsy. And so looking at it, I mean, I've never watched Nightmare on Elm Street, but that's something I would be interested in watching maybe. But yeah, I'm not interested in going back and watching any of the older Halloween films at this point. And yeah, the end, if you don't want spoilers, mute this for about 15 seconds. The end, it was meant to be like a moment of triumph, but it felt like they were just not leaning into that and keeping the door open for a sequel. So yeah, it was just a bit emotionally flat, the ending. But there were definitely scares and stuff along the way. How about you?
Well, Mark and I have been playing Pandemic Legacy Season 0, which is awesome. So we're having a lot of fun with that. We made pumpkin pie yesterday, which turned out really well, considering I've never even baked a pie before. So I've done a lot of baking, but not pies. So that went well. And what else? Oh, yeah, we had friends over yesterday. So, which was the first time we've seen them in 5 months, I want to say, because finally lockdowns and restrictions are starting to lift. So that was really nice. And on a Ludocherry level, I just approved our face mask production. So we're getting Ludocherry face masks.
Oh, is that the one with the wee D20s? Can you show that closer?
Yeah. Oop.
Nice.
So yeah, this is basically the final one, except the straps will be an adjustable thing. You won't have to tie them yourself, basically. They'll just be a closed loop, but you can adjust it, kind of like a bra strap, I guess, like with one of those
Do you
clasps.
have any in red?
No, not yet.
Mm,
Not until we have a red fabric, which
mm.
I'm going to do for you. I will find a way to do it.
And Simon got gifted Patchwork Doodle recently. It's the first game in a while that they've persuaded their family to play. And their son's review. It's like Tetris. It's doodling. What's not to like? Rob
That's great.
watched Welcome to Night Vale live show stream, although not technically live. Loved it. And
Nice.
yes, States has been doing more chocolate art, which looks
Ooh.
amazing. I have had some sneak previews. You should totally put these on Instagram and make everybody else envious because I was being tortured. Like it was almost like torture. Like Saito was just showing me all these amazing chocolates and saying, "Oh yeah, this one's got like like I'm not going to like it was like all these amazing chocolates and also won a game because Maya showed exactly this right game for the answer. Andrew January finishing making the hot sauce. Well done. Good stuff.
Nice.
And that brings us to the proper main topic. So now we are actually, it's not coming up. We are talking about it after the Kickstarter. Feel free to comment, keep your chats going. I might not show it all. I do read it all. I do love and appreciate you all. And yes, let's talk about what happens after the Kickstarter. So, after a successfully funded Kickstarter, what happens? Like, how do we meet our obligations? How do we negotiate production and fulfillment? Do we need any backup plans? Like, that's a lot of questions to throw at you.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's start off with taking a step back and being like, okay, let's just define what we're talking about. And today, for the purposes of today, I figured that we just talk about what you do after the Kickstarter and maybe delve into some of the stuff that some people do after the Kickstarter, but maybe should have been done before the Kickstarter. Maybe talk about, a little bit about how things go wrong, but also talk a little bit about your personal journey, Phoebe, because that's, of course, something that you've got the most expertise in, because
Yep.
we are all experts in ourselves, relatively speaking. I mean, do we ever really know ourselves? That can be a lifelong journey. So, do you have anything to add to what you want to talk about today?
I mean, I think that sums it up. I think the things that happen after the Kickstarter should be all things that you've already kind of set in motion, or at least have kind of plans for how they'll play out, right? Like production, shipping, fulfillment, all of that stuff. Hopefully, you at least have quotes on and an idea of what it's going to be, because otherwise, you have no way of pricing. Whether it's a game or for us clothing, you have no way of pricing whatever your item is. You have no way of pricing shipping. It's all you need quotes, and ideally quotes, like if you're making a game, from a couple of different manufacturers, so you have options. But then it comes to, obviously, once you have the funds, actually putting all of that into action. And I just got to plug my computer in, because for some reason it is not. Why are you not charging? You're plugged in. I just don't want my computer to die. There we go. Okay. Yes. So hopefully all of these things you've already thought about to some degree, and things like logistics are things like if you don't know like where you'll be fulfilling from, or how you'll get stuff to other countries if you're trying to do EU friendly and ship from different parts of the world. If you don't know how to do all of that, your shipping costs aren't going to be right, because you don't have freight quotes, you don't have like there's a lot of moving parts, and it's a lot of spreadsheets to kind of even have an estimate. And like for us, we had our Kickstarter end in April, and then kind of the peak of COVID has hit, And over the course of the year, shipping's increased by about 25% or 20%, I think I read. So that was kind of a blow to us because we advertised it in the Kickstarter as one thing, and suddenly it's 20% higher. So we actually said to our backers, like, we have the option of charging you more for shipping or charging you the same amount, but it's going to take longer. And we've gone with charging you the same amount because we know COVID's hit a lot of people hard, right? And thankfully, we have a really good community that's like, we're being open and clear about what our choices are and how the fulfillment is going to happen. And everyone's just really supportive of
So just
us.
to clarify, you'd already charged for the shipping. That had been part of the Kickstarter pledge because there's multiple ways of doing this. For those who are unaware, you can either charge for shipping as part of the Kickstarter, or some people use a pledge manager and charge for shipping after the fact, which allows them to mitigate the publisher's risk. Obviously, that then puts the risk onto the backer, which is why on Kickstarter, where there is a post-Kickstarter thing like backer kits, normally you've also got the option of paying £1 to be part of that pledge manager. Now, had you already done shipping as part of the Kickstarter?
We didn't. So we did it as part of Backer Kit. But basically what happened is, like, for the Kickstarter, which started start of March, we advertised, we had estimated shipping costs, right, on the Kickstarter page. And that was, I can't remember exactly what it was. Let's say $9 US for a single item. And then when we went into Backer Kit and we kind of re-estimated all our shipping costs, a month and a half later, we upped that slightly. So I think it ended up being like 10 or 11 US dollars, for example, to the US, or 10 or 11 Australian to the US, rather. And so we'd already increased all the rates slightly from what we'd estimated in the Kickstarter, and then give it another 3 months, of COVID peaking, another 3 months of the world being on fire, re-estimating our shipping when our clothes are finally ready to ship, and we're like, oh, it's going to cost even more now. So it was at that.
How much is it looking like it's going to cost?
It's, well, to keep the original options we had, in terms of the original speed of the parcels, we would probably have had to charge another $3 or $4 per backer, which we're like, it's not terrible in the scheme of things, but we also know that every $3 or $4 counts, and you've kind of signed up to the Kickstarter being like, oh, this is what I expect to pay. We'd already increased it, and to us, waiting an extra 2 weeks or an extra 3 weeks for your items to arrive is not too bad when you've already been waiting since April or March. So versus, being hit with another charge. And, we posted that, and our backers were like, great, that's fine. Thanks for telling us what's going on. But I know, some depends on the campaign, and depends on your community, and depends on how aggressive your backers are. Because I know, if Simon did that, or if, another company did that, there'd probably be angry people being like, we want our games now. Just send our thing for the same price, express post to me immediately. And it's like, that's not how the world works.
An interesting one, because even Simon, which is, one of the very few publicly traded companies in the hobby board game space, I mean, it's still a relatively small place. I mean, I've not actually reached out to Churn and Ng, as I believe that's how you pronounce their name. The head of Simon, Churn and
Oh, I don't actually know who it is. Yeah.
But anyway, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, they are quite quite frequently in the Kickstarter Facebook groups to sort of say, hey, this is how you do this. When people ask questions, sometimes you get the head of Simon coming in. And can you imagine someone doing that for like a cosmetics company, where it's like, hey, how can we make it so that this is less harmful to animals? And having all the cosmetics companies helping each other, that just wouldn't happen. Whereas the board games community, at least the hobbyist board games community, I mean, I've never seen anyone from Gibson's or Ravensburg or Shigemix, to be fair, like in there, or but or is Simon anyway? But like it's like a weird one, and even like as soon as you are Stonemeyer Games or Simon, people suddenly believe that oh, the natural laws don't apply to you. And yeah, sure, you might have a lot more money kind of that's going through. It might be that okay, someone's very well financially off, but still they do have bigger costs to keep that going. They do have other stuff that they need to do. And so I think it's just, yeah, for me at least, I don't know, it doesn't always seem 100% fair to say, oh, you need to do this, and even though the world's changed, they can't do any of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, way too intentionally mishear what I said, Xate. Oh man, could you imagine like trying to get the cats to play the board games? Yes,
Oh
let's
gosh.
see if this box is suitable for cats.
I mean, if it fits, it sits. So.
Well, you know, that's the problem with Kitty Cataclysm. Doesn't fit. Not even for
Our rats would fit. You should call it kitty rat. Kitty rat radicalism. Kitty cat radicalism.
Let's put a pin in that and maybe come back to it later. So, yeah, just from a personal point of view, I am going under a slightly different amount of stress because I have a much smaller number of backers that have paid me money for Categorical, which I'm very thankful for. Now, within the UK, shipping has increased by about 20 pence. That's fine. You know, it's not going to be a big deal. Conversely, shipping to the USA, it has gone from, for the speedy delivery, it's gone from about like £7 to about £15. And that is a massive increase that I just can't yeah, that okay. That's true. So yeah, with that massive increase, like it's just like, how can I afford to do this? I'm probably going to investigate that slow 2-month thing, and I'm not doing a backer kit style pledge manager style games found whatever, because other options do exist. And so I'm in the situation where, oh dear, if I'm sending stuff to USA, that's the amount of money that I get. And in a way, that's part of the advantage of making sure, because there's risk on every side. And that kind of, I mean, it feels like having a post-campaign pledge manager should be its own episode, because there's an ethical almost concern. Do you know what I mean? Because why is it right for you to offset that risk onto the backers? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that Kickstarter is, well, I guess the idea behind it, right, is that you're helping fund a creator who otherwise wouldn't be able to create this thing, and that implies that to a degree there's a lack of like capital and a lack of experience, and you wouldn't like pre-order from a major brand and then be like, I don't know what shipping is until they decide to ship it and they can charge me whatever I want. But I also think there's a level of trust between like the Kickstarter creator and the backer, like, because they're not guaranteed a product. Like, Kickstarter doesn't protect their money at all. Kickstarter doesn't guarantee that they'll get something. So if someone's backing your project, it's already like a leap of faith in a sense. Yeah, I don't know. So we wanted to kind of secure that trust by saying, you know what, we're not going to charge more for shipping. We're going with this other alternative. But if we didn't have that other alternative, we might have had to charge an extra $2, $3 per package. And hopefully, you know, we would have done what we could to compensate for that. Like if people had to pull out, or if people, you know, if people needed refunds, if that somehow made the difference, we would have done that. But there is kind of a level of trust that as the creator you want to respect, but as the backer you should know there's a level of risk, because you're not just buying a product.
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
all the animal puns are great.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge underwater Clydesdales. I know underwater kitties was closer. Of course, there's between two kitties, Patchwork Poodle. I like Patchwork Poodle and Mice Hospital.
Yep.
Mice Hospital was my favourite. That really got me going. I had to mute myself. And Mission to... You can read out the other ones. I'm going to actually search for... I'm sorry for the off-topic thing, but I've just got to find this one picture that I did a while back. If you read out the other things that Xate wrote. Oh, here we go.
I like crickets to ride.
That is nice. And 5... That is such a stretch. Is that meant to be 5 tribes? 5 tribes is 5 turtles? That's so...
It starts with T, it counts.
Crickets to ride is brilliant. And yeah, oh man, oh gosh, yeah, oh, trail of toucans, jeez, oh man, oh heaven and will, oh gosh, this is so, oh, don't stop doing this, okay, or you're not going to get any of the normal content. You're not going to get Phoebe to talk about the serious stuff. Anyway, I just want to show this picture that I did 2 different pictures. This was for Catan, and this was the one that day. So this is based on Nick Smith's cat. It was actually a commission for Nick Smith's business and romantic partner, who both run the Ludoquist. So as you can see, there's Catan, and it's a cat playing Catan, and all the cards have little cats on them, but the backs are kind of modelled off the original Catan, and the houses have little cat faces on them. I don't know if you can see that. And all the places, instead of being wheats and stuff, it's cat-themed stuff. So this is like just the sketches that I did for their thing, and that was like the sketch, and they said that they wanted this one, and so that was like the sketch before I did the final thing. But yeah, that is a picture, and if you want to commission me to do a drawing of your cats, then not now, probably. I'm just too busy. But like, you know, get in touch. It would be nice if people actually want. I have to draw something for other people, but you know, I'm just for the next few months, I'm just going to focus on meeting my obligations, trying to not take any more obligations on, just trying to do what I need to do, if you know what I mean. And then anyway, so yes, I'm aware. Yes, I'm aware. Please do keep all your punning for Friday. That would be love. Oh no, wait, it's not this Friday, for the Friendly Friday forum, where that's going to be. The Friendly Friday forum is just going to be mad chaos. Anyway, let's get to the point. The point is, shipping is a pain indeed exterior.
It sure is. Especially with Brexit happening next year. So that's a whole lovely mess. So even companies like GamesQuest, whose job it is to know what the rules will be and like understand everything, because it's their business to ship stuff, within and out within the EU and outside of the UK, etc. They don't know yet what it's going to look like. So I'm working with them, shipping stuff to them, and they'll ship out to the EU before the end of the year. But like they don't know what's going to happen after December. They don't. They don't know what's going to look like, which is, if you're a creator, that's terrifying.
I mean, shipping can be on ships, but air freight is just such a commonly assumed thing. And this is the thing, like, it's terrible for the environment. And if everyone were to start saying, hey, you can have this lower costs option, it's going to take 2 months or maybe even 3 months to get to you, but it will be quite a bit cheaper. Frankly, for a lot of the US-based stuff, I would love to do that. A lot of US-based stuff, there's not even the option, not even if I wanted to pay them as much as I possibly could. Like, there was someone who I'd been supporting for years who did these amazing poetry, shouts out, and literally personalized poetry for like a couple of quid, that you just gave them a word, and then they were just purely doing it for the love of it. And then they had like a couple of hundred backers, and then they wrote everyone like a personalized thing. And it was like, hey, here's your personalized one. Oh, this is so lovely. And then you could pay like another extra couple of quid for them to post it to you, and it would be handwritten. And I've still got this lovely thing. I've got like these poems that are handwritten from them. One of them is like about, actually, one of them I'm not going to get into because it's a bit personal to me. It's like basically, yeah, some of them are about sad things. There's one of them that's based on cats. It's just based on my picture of, I think, cat herding cat, from Kitsy Cataclysm, where it's like a cat's herding the humans. And then for that one, they said, hey, I don't want a one-line thing or a topic. I want you to give me a picture, and I will make a poem based on this picture. I was like, oh, I wonder what they do for this. And then they wrote a poem based on cats rising up against the humans, which was quite fun. And yeah, I would absolutely show that one to other people, but the other ones I wouldn't show, because it's like, feels like such a lovely thing. And this is like almost subverting Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is all about mass production. But like, then so commonly, if it's like, hey, Hoop Gods, maybe I want to get that. Like, I don't know, because I'm going to Thailand. I'm definitely not in the market for board games. I'm in the market to sell, not to buy. It's like all sell, sell, sell around here, which is what we'll start doing on Sunday. But yeah, so if I wanted to buy that, they don't even give me the option. What's up with that? That doesn't seem cool.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to call you out, Omar Akil, I think is their name. But, why are you doing this? I mean, I can't have them on because, like, now it should be like 5 a.m. US time, and I don't feel comfortable asking any US citizens to join me at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I understand creators, especially if you're a small creator and you don't want to deal with international logistics. I get it. Like, honestly, if I was in the US, maybe I would have just limited it to US backers, or, because international logistics is such a pain, and it's so much more of a pain than just shipping out domestically. Because if you're shipping domestically, all you have to do is freight the stuff over to a single fulfillment center, let's say in the US, and then everything ships out from there to the US. And maybe you do Canada as well. But it's not saying they're lazy. I'm just saying that given that a lot of the market is in the US anyway, and they don't necessarily need an international market, and it's one less thing to think about as a creator, I get it. I would probably do it, because there's so much to do. And if it's one less thing you have to stress about, figuring out how much you're going to lose, on shipping, or how much you have to charge on shipping, then I get it.
Yeah, Jess, I'm not saying that US citizens, I'm not saying that US citizens are lazy. What I think that we can agree that there's a lot of stuff to do, and you can only do so much. And this is a thing, like, especially when you're small, and as you scale up, look, when you're on your own, you might be looking to make it not end up as a loss. That might be your entire thing. That's, hey, I want to have my game out in the world. I don't know about Rob's motivations, because I look at the names in chat and I think Rob is the only one with a game that's published. But I, from what I know of Rob, I'd assume that it's the same as me. It's like, just okay, I'm going to do this for, my ego in some sense. I know that sounds like a very bad way to put it, but like, hey, I'm enjoying having my thing out in the world. And let's do it with another publisher because I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. And that's frankly a big reason why lots of people seek out other publishers, because they don't want to have to deal with all that stuff. And that's perfectly legit, because there is too much stuff to deal with in life. You can say, oh, I'm going to do everything, but then that ends up with you overworking and not sleeping and burning yourself out. And when you're running a Kickstarter, when you're doing anything yourself, it is so easy to have more and more and more and more and more and more things to do.
Absolutely. And like, it's just hard. And honestly, like, I want Ludocherry to be my full-time thing, and for this to be, my income and my livelihood going forward, and to grow it and everything. But I've been working on it for 3 years, and it hasn't paid me an income. Like, I haven't, because money's just going back into Ludocherry for future designs and manufacturing and shipping, and like, I don't have a profit right now from all the work I've put into Ludocherry. So like, it's hard because there's a lot of expenses and stuff that goes along with it. And I'm lucky that I'm able to take time off. I have enough of a buffer and savings that I can kind of wait until this will start paying me and work on Ludocherry full time, so that I can put the energy into it. But most people do this in addition to a full-time job. Like, most people do this in addition, like, as a side gig to their 40-hour a week, whatever they do to make a living job.
Yeah, and I think that if you're, like Rob, who just said, I don't relish the idea of the admin of publishing, so I don't do it. That's not lazy, that's just smart. And if you've decided, hey, I'm not going to send stuff out to other countries because I don't want to have to deal with that admin, I think that's, a reasonable thing. And yeah, if you're like, I'm only going to send, I understand it, is what I'm saying. I don't think it's lazy, because to some degree, laziness is a value like judgment, because we all have to decide, what are we going to do? What are we not going to do? Like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, where are we going to pick our battles? Because we can't do everything.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder what Jess actually said. That was, Jess said, Yogi has sold out in basically every games shop in Bangkok. I blame you for making such a hot game, I'm going to say, although I don't know what, I'm not sure I want to know what word that is, but feel free to tell me on Messenger. I'm slightly curious now. But yeah. Oh, Sate says she only said stars or else we would see it. Oh, as in 4-star. Ah, just literally meant a 4-star good. Oh, only 4 stars, not man. Oh well, okay. I'll be happy with 4 out of 5. It's not 5 out of 5 for everyone. Or is this like a new rating scale that it's out of 4? I don't know. Oh man, it's only 2. Oh. Why do you say this stuff? Why do you even feel the need to say this stuff, Xate? I know you don't like it. You don't need to remind me of it. Anyway, look. So shipping, it is such a pain in the posterior.
Yes. Absolutely.
And with smaller people, we have to be willing to take certain affordances, and we have to understand that people aren't yet at the point where they can hire other people to help them do stuff for admin or whatever. We can have slightly higher expectations for Stonemaier. Certainly, if I order a game from Stonemaier Games and it takes, half a week for it or a week for it to even be shipped out, I would be like, yeah, that's really weird. Whereas there's been situations where someone's ordered a game for me and I'd be like, hey, thanks for that. I'm not going to send it out for like 2 weeks. I was actually just about to close my shop. I've just gone on holiday for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let me know how you're feeling about that. And he said, oh, that's fine. We'll in it's only happened like 2 or 3 times, but people be okay, that's fine. And at least I've let them know, I guess, is the important thing. But
Yeah.
also, people have been understanding. Like, Chris wrote a thing which I slightly edited as my latest Kickstarter thing to say to people, hey, yeah, I'm just, look, for whatever reason, I find it's easy to talk, like just verbally, but writing out things, it takes a lot of energy out of me. And maybe it's because this medium, it kind of feels less intense, like people are going to focus on it less. But I do want to be available to everyone. But when people write to me and I need to write back, that takes up so much energy of my day.
Yeah.
And um, I guess yeah, I want to, but at the same time, Chris wrote this update saying, hey, and I kind of edited to make it clear this is probably not going to come. This is definitely going to be late, pretty much. I don't think I said definitely. I hope I said definitely. Yeah, it's basically definitely going to be late. And now I'm thinking, it's probably going to go on the slow ship to America. And I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to go on the slow ship to America, therefore I'm going to wait before sending it to UK, just so that people get it around the same time. I mean, that doesn't. I've got it. What's the point in me sitting on it for 2 weeks? I
Yeah.
don't even have a warehouse. That's basically just literally going to be in my living room for a
Yeah.
while. And it's going to literally take me 2 weeks to. And it wouldn't be 2 weeks, it would be like 2 months to wait on it, because in the UK, even with second class, like the slowest thing, it still takes, about 3 days as opposed to 2 months on a very slow ship.
Mm.
And actually, let's get into that. Do you stagger the shipping? Have you considered trying to make sure that everyone gets their thing at the same time? Or do
Uh,
you just send it out when you can?
it's just being sent out when it can. Like, I know bigger Kickstarters especially have been like, oh, we want to make sure that the US doesn't get it after everyone. And I'm like, they can wait. Like, I the fact that US backers would care that much about, someone getting it before them, it's just so entitled in my mind. I'm like, why? Like, give the creator a break, right? Like, they don't want it taking up space either in their living room or in, whatever warehouse, because you pay for space in a warehouse or a fulfillment center. Like, you pay for that space. There's no point sitting on it for some illusion of it arriving at the same time globally. Like, global shipping is complicated and things will arrive at different times. And like, if people aren't okay with that, I don't really get it. It's very strange to me. But I have seen Kickstarters make sure that the US gets it first, or at least at the same time as everyone. So yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand the logic behind that, because as a backer, I would never be like, oh, uh, this country got it before me, or this person got it before me. But I guess people act like that. It's
I mean,
strange.
I know that you've got a wee bit of a connection here, but I was slightly disappointed with the One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak Kickstarter campaign, because I got I was at Essen and I could have bought it there, but
Mm,
my copy didn't arrive for another 3 months.
yep.
And that felt like, I could have bought it and then I could have been playing it. And I really like one. I actually bought
Yep.
now the French version, which I'm not sure. I definitely want to have one of them, and I'll definitely be taking one of them to Thailand. It'll probably be the English one, even though I'm kind of sad that I bought this French version that I've still not had the chance to play, because, I bought it in February and then, 1 month later, everything
Yeah.
got locked down. But yeah, I don't know. Are there many French speaking people in Thailand? Let me know, Jess. But yeah, if yeah, how would you reply to that? I know you're no longer working for them, but
I mean, I started working for them with the One Night Alien Kickstarter, so I wasn't on board when they did that one. I know, like with them, it's always been because I believe they fulfilled from the US for a very long time, so that's why international shipping was always quite expensive, even up till after Alien and Werewords and those Kickstarters. So I think. Um, they were very much working with a US market in mind as like their primary audience, while they still had the option to ship internationally, but they didn't necessarily go out of their way at that point to accommodate that in terms of affordability of shipping or in terms of speed and all of that. And also at that point, they were like relatively small. Like Bezier Games now is, I'd say, a medium-sized publisher, but that was their third Kickstarter, and they were still relatively small, probably still a 2 or 3 person team, doing the most they could in terms of managing those logistics. So it's annoying for sure to see something on a shelf or at a con when you're still waiting on your copy. I understand how it happens. I know it's not great, but I understand how and why it happens as well. And so I
mean, I
see
know
both
that
sides.
nowadays, like, convention Kickstarter pickup is a thing. It doesn't mean that it's going to be any cheaper, because even though it seems weird because it's right there, and you're like, oh, can't I even take one of these, and you don't send me that? It's like, no, because we had to pay for these to be shipped to Essen.
Yeah.
And also the reason that we're shipping these to Essen is because we want it's basically like promotion. Like, we want to get these to new customers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like an opportunity cost. It is a weird one, but I totally get that. And hello, Michael. It is lovely to see you.
Hi, Michael.
Looking forward to chatting tomorrow. And who says there's always a tiny minority who are just super entitled.
Yeah.
And that's true. And yeah, just to reply to this, you still haven't cooked for me technically, Xate, and I have cooked for you. I'm just pointing that out. Let it be shown on the record that supposedly Will Cook for Board Games came over here, played a board game, and I cooked for them. I'm just saying that.
Lies.
So I think this is a bit harsh. Oh, yeah, that might be true. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I might have not cooked for them, but still, I catered to them, and I hosted.
Yep, that counts.
And it was a home cooked meal, and it was like a meal that I'd felt like this was a especially nice meal, and I cooked this, and here's like 2 portions of it. There's no more anyway. So let's go back to, let's see what the actual things are. So we were going to talk about meeting our obligations. And what are our obligations for a Kickstarter? How would you define them? Like, it seems like, all of these could be bigger topics in and of themselves, but we'll try and get through all of this in the next 10 minutes if we can. So
I mean, obligations, I guess, like the literal obligation you have is to get whatever the person backed, get it to them, right? That is kind of the bare minimum, I guess, that you could say a creator is expected to do is, whoever has pledged or backed for a thing, they should get that thing, or at least you should do your absolute best to get them that thing. I know, unexpected things happen and things fall down, and I think I've only ever backed a couple of projects that never delivered because of external factors. But that's kind of the bare minimum. But then I think people expect, especially within the tabletop sphere, because there's so many Kickstarters all the time, people really expect a high level of like customer service and things like stretch goals are kind of assumed at this point as opposed to being a bonus. Things like, making shipping as affordable as possible, having what's it like EU friendly shipping is kind of assumed or hoped for. And if you don't
Hmm.
have that and you're a medium or large publisher, people will be like, hey, where's my EU friendly shipping, or where's my Australia friendly shipping? So I don't know how much of that is an obligation, but I think as long as you are genuinely there to get the best item or get the best product to your backers and take care of them in the process, I think that's kind of your obligation as a creator, because they've put their trust, their money in you, giving you this capital up front, allowing you to create this thing. So the least you can do for them is kind of, I don't want to say showing your appreciation, but like,
Actually, you see, I
yeah,
think
like
that's
giving them a
making the
reason.
thing.
Yeah, giving them a reason to have that trust in you, like making the thing, and also, looking out for them in terms of doing the best you can by them, not trying to grift them, not trying to overcharge
Hmm.
them, not skimping on quality, not, if something goes wrong, you are clear in terms of communication, and you are clear of what's happening, and setting expectations and all that kind of thing is very important, I would say. Like, most of the time, if you're up, even if things go wrong, but you're clear in what went wrong and how went wrong and how you're fixing it, people will be like, oh, okay, great, there's a plan, it's fine. Whereas if you just disappear from Kickstarter for 5 months with their money, people will be like, what's up? What's happening? And will be much more upset at you and panicked than they would be if they know exactly what's happening.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that ultimately it's basically just about the honesty
Yeah,
and having that yeah, sincerity to your backers. And if we look, Kickstarter, it says so many times, Kickstarter is not a store. And it sometimes when it's a really big company, if Hasbro went and did Hero Quest on Kickstarter rather than on their own platform, I understand why they did it on their own platform, because they're big enough to make their own platform. I mean,
yeah,
heck, even GMT does it on their own platform with the pre-order 500 campaign.
yeah,
And yeah, I think that's been going on longer than Kickstarter, I'm fairly sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone. But you are getting this money from people, and what you're pledging is, if I get this amount of money, I will make my best efforts to make this thing. Now,
yeah,
life happens, and if you made some bad calculations, okay, people might be ready to forgive you. Um, if it was a really difficult year, for example, maybe sad stuff, people dying, pandemic, what just low energy in general, kind of fluctuating moods, depression, like these things, people might be ready to understand. If you're a bigger company at that point, it shouldn't rest upon just one person. It should be like, okay, there's a fail-safe plan so that even if I am not involved, this will happen. And I would love my next Kickstarter. I think that I would like to do one at some point in the future. I don't want to give up self-publishing entirely. And that's why I am talking to certain distribution partners and whatnot. Um, and I would like to get to the point where, hey, even if I'm not able to do any of this stuff, that's going to happen.
yeah,
But I think it's all about making that genuine effort.
mm. Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, it's so that's all about obligations. We've talked about we've barely touched upon negotiations or requests for quotes, which
Mm.
really should have come before the Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, if you don't have quote, because things are going to always cost more than you you expect them to, I think, unless you're very experienced in, whatever industry you're doing. So you should definitely have, multiple quotes allowing for, okay, what if we just meet our goal? Because, that will be a different cost per unit than what if we get double our goal? What if we get quadruple our goal through some miracle? Because, I think we've mentioned before, you can get problems from overfunding in terms of, suddenly the manufacturer we've lined up can't produce 5,000 units. They can only produce 1,000 in this time period. I think Seventh Continent, when they did the expansion, they were so popular that there were delays basically because the printer couldn't physically print that number of cards within the timeline they'd set for production because they overfunded by some absurd amount. And so that caused delays in that respect, which, people were fine with. And most people won't overfund by that amount, but it's still something to consider of you need options for every possible scenario, I guess, or at least as many as you have time to do in the mess of everything else that you're doing. But, multiple quotes and multiple ideas of what will happen for sure.
Hmm. And earlier on, you mentioned contracts with your fulfillment partner. Is
Mm.
that something that you got with your production partners as well before?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I assume it would also be standard with board game production is it's, fairly basic contracts, but just saying, here's the price, here's what you've paid, here's what we're making, here's all the terms of like basically laying out, as the manufacturer, we're expected to do this, as the client, you're expected to do this. These are ways of like if something goes wrong or someone breaks their end of the deal, getting compensation, I guess, getting,
Hmm.
basically laying out, hey, we're both going to do our end of the deal, and then this thing will happen, and you'll pay me money, and we'll give you the thing. And it's just, sets expectations and all of that, and gives both of you a safety net. So like, it
It's really interesting because, like, personally, I've not gotten contracts. I've dealt with, I've actually given large amounts of money to two people, Cards Monday and Fabrica Cards, and both of them met their obligations, which was
mm,
cool. And yeah, I'm going to say that at the time, John Langley was working for Cards Monday, although I believe John has subsequently retired, was very quick and efficient to deal with, and personally brought some copies. I believe there might have been a delay on their parts, which I was really annoyed by, but they did bring some copies to UK Games Expo, so I would have at least some copies there. So that
yeah,
kind of made it okay for me at least.
yeah,
And with Gregor, when I've said, okay, this is a date that we need it by, Gregor will say, okay, this is a date that you need to send us this thing. And if you do, we will try our utmost to do that. But there's nothing like, okay, what if you don't do that?
mm.
And yeah, I am kind of wondering, was it okay of me to do that? Because, it's relatively smaller amounts of money. Like I'm talking about maximum to be fair, it is like thousands of pounds, and it's still at about money that, for sure, if Carter Monday had run away with that money, I would be like, whoa, this is like basically changed my life for sure.
Mm.
If they had not done that, I would not be where I am today, no question about it. And yeah, but should I have gotten a contract or should everyone get a contract? How important is it? I mean, maybe we need to have more of a roundtable for this discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to, what kind of scale are you operating at and how well do you know the people as well. Like, if you're dealing with people who, let's say, are really entrenched in the industry and, their reputation would be ruined if they ran away with your money, or, you know them personally and you know they're trustworthy, or other people speak highly of them, and it's, a relatively small amount of money, then you might not need one, and that's fine. For like Ludocherry, for one where it's not a random manufacturer in China. Like, we vetted them, we know they make quality stuff and everything, but it's not like they have any particular ties to us or to the tabletop industry. Like, they're recommended to us by our agent in Australia, but theoretically, like, if they run off with our money, I can't do anything to hurt them or to get them back without a contract in place. And we're talking about our production amount was like 70,000 US dollars. So when you're talking at that kind of scale, it's like, well, if for some reason that fell through, if for some reason, let's say, for example, they sent us a really nice pre-production sample, but then all the, that's like a fake sample and all the clothes they actually send us are awful, right? Like, and you don't have a contract in place to govern that or to get recompense for that, you'd really be in trouble. So it depends on how comfortable you are with them and the scale you're operating at. And it was the same with our fulfillment, is like, do we want no contract in place when they're going to be holding $70,000 of stock, right? It's like, not really, because if they happen to run away with our stock or accidentally set it on fire and we have no kind of recourse for that, well, we're out $70,000. So I don't know. It was definitely something that gave us a sense of reassurance. Yeah.
Did you ever work in? I mean, yeah, it seems like RFQs, like requests for quotes and contracts. It seems like a really good topic for a roundtable, just to kind of get that sort of into the open, because negotiating is such a, let's call it, a soft skill. I don't know if I really understand or appreciate those terms, soft skill versus hard skill, but I don't even know why I just said that. But it's kind of more, I guess the thing is that you can see clearly, okay, you've got this maths answer correct. It's either correct or wrong. And engineering, maybe it's like that kind of science. It's kind of correct or wrong. Whereas, negotiating or philosophy, it's okay. It's not clear how you kind of carry on improving throughout your entire life, or so. I don't know, but I don't. I don't know if I even want to dwell on this tangent anymore of what's a soft skill and what's a hard skill. Do you know what these terms? Why did I even bring them up?
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, in terms of negotiation, like, it's a hard one because I always feel weird negotiating, because it's like, well, you've told me a price. If I ask you for a lower price, then I'm basically saying, right, give me what you're good at doing and give me how you make a livelihood, but make less money from it so that I can make more money. You know what I mean? Like, it feels very slimy, I guess, in a sense, because it's like, well, I want to make more money, so you should make less money from it. And there's kind of an assumption there that both parties are there to rip each other off. Like, if I'm getting the best deal that a manufacturer can give me in their first offer, I don't need to negotiate, right? Like, if I know that our manufacturer comes being like, this is the price, this is the best price we can do, this is what it costs, and I'm like, great, I will pay you the money and I will get the thing. That's how I want to work. I don't want to be like, they come back with a quote that's 50% more than what I should be paying, and then I counter with 50% less than what I should be paying, and then 5 emails later we come to the price that they could have just told me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. It has a very, it just has the assumption that both people there to rip the other one off, and I'm just like, no. And this comes with artists as well. Like, people negotiate with artist rates and commission rates, and I'm like, artists, like, it costs time and skill. Like, if they're telling you a price, you get what you pay for, and their skills, they're not going to tell you an amount that they think they're not worth, because they're already gaslit enough into being told that their skills aren't worth what they want to charge. So negotiating's weird. I don't like it. There can be other things to negotiate, but I will say, in my experience, that any one I've had to negotiate with in serious ways in terms of changing contracts or changing terms that you would like call negotiation rather than just like discussing, oh, what does this mean? Can we change that? Anyone I've had to negotiate with in a meaningful way has definitely been not looking out for my best interest in that sense. They've
Mm,
and I've, we did that whole chat about the marketing firm that ripped us off. The initial
yeah.
contract we signed with them, um, that was 3 or 4 back and forths of negotiation, where they had weird clauses and weird things, and we are like, okay, well, we're not comfortable with that. We'll go with someone else, and then they come back with, oh, no, 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 we'll change that. We'll change that just for you. Like, that's fine. We'll make you comfortable. And I feel like that kind of negotiating is a red flag. Um, but maybe I'm just lucky in that the rest of my experiences haven't been uh, predatory like that. But it definitely does feel, when you have to negotiate a lot just to feel comfortable, it definitely feels predatory.
Yeah, and I really like what you said about there's this assumption that we're both out there to rip each other off, and why not just say, this is what works for me? And
Mm,
for sure, if you're going to offer something more, like I know Alley Cat Games may be able to say, okay, if you do us a good price, we can commit all of our business for the next
mm,
couple of years to you, if you
yeah.
kind of are able to give us a wee bit of a discount. Um, and I just want to say that I looked up on Google very, very quickly what a soft and hard skill is, and according to um, yeah, basically, hard skills are teachable abilities or skill sets that are easy to quantify, says one website. That's thebalancecareers.com. Another one, which I really hate, Investopedia, says learned abilities acquired and enhanced through practice, repetition, and education. Which all of that applies to soft skills, because then if
Yeah,
you
that's a
I go
weird
back to soft
definition.
skills, which has the from Oxford's languages, soft skills, personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. That's something you really need to work hard on and
Mm,
study. Potentially study can improve you. If
yeah.
I'm studying, psychology, that's going to improve my negotiating. If I study negotiation, that's going to improve my negotiation. Like, these are things that there is a skill. And I know, I don't know if I've talked about them on this channel before, but I know someone that does negotiating as a living.
Mm,
And they did some work. I think their claim to fame is that they did some of the made some of the decisions for one of the versions of Scrabble that they were very proud of. That's what they were proudest of when they showed made a box, kind of how some of the letters like make particular words. Like, this was all, I think this was all this person called Gavin. But anyway, and I met him again at Nuremberg Toy Fair. And I was like, hey, Bez. And I was like, oh, hey. And then this was at the airport. But anyway, so for this to be like someone's entire job, obviously it's going to be something that takes a lot of time, and we could have like an entire series about that. We could like have 12 shows like just about negotiation, I'm sure, like series of things, because there's as much going on in there as there is in design. But at the same time, it's incredibly sad,
mm,
because why should we have to do this? As you say, like, if we were all working harmoniously, if that was coming from everyone, then it would be like, hey, this is what I can afford to do, and we're all being fair to each other. But then there are some people, and I'm not going to name names, but certainly there's some people, some of them in great positions of power, who who care a lot about themselves and care not at all about other people. Sorry to
mm.
get slightly political.
No, but it also, like, I think the more corporate a business becomes and the larger businesses become, the more it is about, I will pay you as little as possible so I can make as much as possible. But whereas in the tabletop industry, especially, like, we all know how small the margins are. right? Like, I'm
Hmm.
not even making board games, but I've worked for publishers. I know no one's getting rich. No one's got $1 million mansions from board games. Like, even the multi-million-dollar Kickstarters, a lot of that's going to production and shipping and blah 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 blah. Like, there's not big margins in it, and so I think because we are niche and smaller, everyone is like, well, we want to be fair to each other. And also, like, if you get a reputation for ripping people off, then that spreads fast in a small industry. But um, honestly, like, especially when it comes to artists and everything, I'm like, no, literally just tell me your price and I will pay it because I like your work. I want you to work for me. Like, if it's something outrageous, like if you're like, I'll charge you $10,000 for a piece, then maybe we can talk about it. But otherwise, I'm going to trust that whatever rate you give me is what you need to charge for your skill and your experience and your vision. And yeah, I just, yeah, the more corporate it gets, the less it is like that, I think.
Yeah, because at a certain point, it is all about money.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand when someone says, hey, we are 30% about the money and 70% about education. Um, it's sad that someone might take a contract away from them, but you have to decide what are you prioritizing. And for some people, that priority might be, okay, my priority is just having my game out there in some form, even if it's like 500 copies, that's enough. For some people, it might be, okay, I want to produce these clothes. I don't want to put words into your mouth. So feel free to correct me. I'm going to make these clothes and then just try to make ends meet somehow. Um, okay, good. Nod is good. And then for some people, it might be, okay, I want to make these games, and that's our business. But we are going to maximize our profits because we've got a lot of employees, and we just going to continue to grow as a business. We are corporate, and you're right that at a certain point it does become more and more self-serving, which is slightly sad.
Yeah.
Let me touch upon just briefly backup plans. Do we need some?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I was saying, our original plan for shipping fell through. So we had to find a new fulfillment center. And that was kind of a last minute scramble, being like, can you start shipping these in 4 weeks? Like, our manufacturing's done. We can ship them to you straight away. Whereas if we'd had that investigation done, 2 or 3 months before, even if we thought we had a shipping partner lined up, we wouldn't have had to be frantic, and we would have had a much smoother transition to the new partner. So absolutely, like, backup plans in terms of, everything, I get. But like, primarily production and fulfillment is have a couple of options there because, 2020 has shown that really anything can happen. And I mean, not every year is going to be 2020. Not every year is going to have such a drastic, fingers crossed, such a drastic change in kind of everything globally, logistics wise and cost wise and everything. But I guess it's that hope for the best and prepare for the worst mentality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And expect something in between, because hope
yeah,
does not mean expectation, as
yeah.
Tate has told me, and as I rambled about for basically an hour one night, where Tate and Alex were listening to me. Yeah. Anyway, so finally, communication. I want to touch upon this for literally no more than a minute. Communicate with your backers. As long as you're saying something meaningful, the more the better. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say, keep them updated. We're doing about once a month, but as long as people know what's happening, they know things are moving or what's going on, they'll be happy. Most of them. Most of them.
Yeah. And just to address this, I think it was 3 hours. But I talked about that one part for about an hour as part of the 3 hours. The 3 hours was about other stuff as well. It was a vague and philosophical ramble for basically 3 hours, as part of which I basically said, firstly, hopes and expectations are not the same thing. Secondly, love other people and express that love. That's like a big thing that I want to remember myself. And thirdly, and this is like a personal thing for myself, kind of keep that ego reined in. And this is like, remember that not everything is about you. And that's like a thing that, I'm continuing to work on. It was definitely a Twitch stream. Yes. So, let me recap. We have talked about, I'm sorry for kind of accelerating the end of this. We talked about so much, and it feels like we have had a lot of tangents, to be fair. Like, we started off talking about pajamas and eyebrows and personal grooming and reminiscing about ways things were. Then we moved into British Bake Off and talking about baking and cooking and television. And, yeah, I guess these really hit a chord with people. And then we went into like just the black and white TVs and streaming and all sorts of philosophy. And so basically I had an intro that lasted pretty much an hour. And then we started talking about, what you've been doing recently, which is spreadsheets, and talked about the RFQs, about the contracts, about the shipping, about in the chat there was some more chat about phoning and singing, and we talked about the negotiation and the post Kickstarter communications and about how things should be on ships, and just make more use of ships, and about like it's people should be okay with that slower speed, and hopefully Xate will get their bike soon. And we talked about honesty and like how as you get more and more corporate, it becomes more and more self-serving. And it's sad that there are some people who just do not give a Sotsuki about other people, but that's the way that things are. I think that in retrospect, what I'm kind of starting to feel is that probably the solo shows like Fridays and Sundays, well, maybe not Sunday, that's going to be more, I'm reviewing, like Fridays are going to be like the most casual going forwards. Not this Friday, but when I do the Friendly Friday forum, and I'll just be rambling. But when it's like another person, it feels like quite nice to have a bit of ramble, and I hope you're okay with that, Phoebe.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
When there's a whole group of us, maybe we can make the group talk something where it's like, okay, I know that all these people have something to contribute, and now it's really just about finding out the information. And maybe it'll be the case that, okay, Dina's been amazing, so please go, and if you're looking for marketing stuff, watch all that. Watch the one with Phoebe that's about like the story about kind of not being ripped off. And I'm not saying that these shows aren't good for information, and it's really useful having this kind of chat, because for me, just hearing about the possibility of a contract, that was a really good thing, and I really appreciate you kind of sharing all this wisdom, and I hope that other people got something out of it. But at the same time, it is like a little bit more chatty, whereas the group things, it feels like, okay, let's just actually get right into the topic. Hopefully that seems reasonable to everyone. What do you think, Phoebe?
I think it's good, because that way you can have really focused chats when you want to, but otherwise, like, I like just going on tangents with you. So, it's good.
So, if you want to find me, I am stuffbybeds.com, stuffbeds.bigcartel.com, where you can buy my stuff for a short while longer, twitter.com/stuffbeds, instagram.com/stuffbeds. Oh, I'm going to definitely make a collage and post it today. Twitch.tv/stuffbeds, where I stream every day at 10 a.m. UK time. YouTube.com/stuffbeds for old videos, and stuffbeds.com/discord. Please go there. I'm talking to you, Jess. Please go to my Discord and post pictures of your cats. But make sure you do it in the channel that's called Cat Chat, because there is also idle chat, discussion, BBBB chat, and that's not for cat. Well, a little bit of cats if you want. If it kind of crops up, that's fine. But cat chat is literally as many cat photos or cat drawings as you can muster. Maybe I said as many. Let's limit it to 24 a day. If you do more than 24 a day, that's like way too many. But let's start off with that as an absolute maximum limit. I just want all the cat pictures going on.
That's fair.
Okay, So yes. Oh man, please don't say that. No, 24. I said 24. No negotiating.
Don't give in. Don't give in.
Sates, can you time out just for like once? Oh wait, what happens if you time out just for 1 second? I don't mean that as a actual harsh thing. Um, 50-50. Anyway, listen, it has been wonderful. I want to say thank you, everyone. Oh yes, Phoebe, if you want to find Phoebe, how would you like to be found?
You can find me on Twitter as @LudoPhoebe, or if you just want the cute geeky clothes @LudoCherry, or ludocherry.com if you want to buy some stuff. We will be shipping out very soon. Oh, and there's a cute boy here. A cute boy wants to say hello. There's a cute boy. This is Chester, I think. Yes, Chester would like to say good night, everyone. Or good
night,
morning,
Chester.
everyone.
And,
he doesn't know what's happening, but he's very cute.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone in the chat. You have been so excellent, and I do have love for you all. And Phoebe, and even Chester, thank you for coming on this stream. It's been lovely, lovely, lovely. And we've got 4 minutes. So over to you. What are you up to? Share something. Only if you want to. Is there anything that you want to share? Whether it's something that you're looking forward to, hopes or ambitions, share anything, whether it's exciting, trivial, important, or just fun. I have some paid work that I'm going to prioritize because I promised it by the 3rd, and it is the 2nd. So, yep. It's been in the back of my mind. I'm going to actually focus on it for a bit today. I'm going to play it with Chris and McCall tonight, and then I'm going to speak to the person tomorrow. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but that is something that a small development project. I'm also going to be playing some actual published games with Chris and McCall tonight, unless they suddenly cancel, which they haven't done, by now. So I would be quite disappointed. Oh, you'd better not cancel on me. But anyway, I don't think either of them are watching. Chris sometimes pops in, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Oh yeah, and my passport was about to run out, so Chris is taking a photo of me because Chris is actually a really good photographer. The photos that you see recently on the ELL_deck on Twitter were taken by Chris. Yeah, Chris is really good. Anyway, that is the bulk of what I'm looking forward to. Those are my main hopes and ambitions. Their secondary stuff, I'll not get into that. What about you, Phoebe?
Honestly, I just want to play more Pandemic Legacy, so I'm excited to play more. We're up to May. I think we just finished May, or started. I don't know. Anyway, we're like a third through, and it's very good. So I'm excited to play more of that. And what else? I don't know. That's about it. I'm just happy that it's sunny and nice out, and we're allowed to go outside and like browse shops and stuff. So things have been good.
And talking about hopes and ambitions, can we have everyone just give some love hearts, like in chat, just like do those virtual hugs or any sorts of love hearts for Mayo. And this is like a cat that Jess found not too long ago. They were really poorly. They had some sorts of flu, and Jess has been caring for them. And let's give some love hearts so that hopefully Mayo can survive. And yeah. Alan celebrating her birthday. Oh my god. Should we sing
happy birthday? We should sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
dear Alan.
Happy birthday
to you.
Hip hooray! Hip hooray! Hip hooray!
Woo!
And just wants to have their work finished.
That's fair.
And looking forward to finishing their chocolates. Wait, is it not Alan's birthday? I don't know. I'm confused now. I could see Alan messing us around. Today is the day that I do some mini painting. I've been saying that for a week. Also meeting on Zoom with an actor to discuss drama in medicine. That does sound interesting. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Pandemic.
Oh, that's brilliant. Pandemic. Oh, oh. And thank you everyone for all the hearts for Jess. And yeah, I don't know whether it's your birthday or not, but yeah, lots of hearts and love to Mayao. And thank you everyone. Anyway, for my next streams, look at stuffbeds.com/streams. Tomorrow I am chatting to definitely Alan Paul, oh, Tally and Michael about an Essen Spiel debrief, and possibly someone else, but it depends on how they're feeling. Share, spread the word, and there is only two things to do. One thing if you are. Do you have any final words, Phoebe?
No, that sums it up.
Okay, shoot, I've overrun by overrunning again. Um, oh, Amadeus is playing again. Oh, let's raid Amadeus. Raid Amadeus underscore music. So Amadeus plays the piano, and there's also the Spanish person, but Amadeus has got Fear Folk, and they're both excellent, so I'm just going to read them. And so now is the time to say bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go to do. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now, oh, thank you for watching. It's time to go. Bye bye, everyone.